Okay, Success Nation, this is your host Michael Nguyen from Asian Success Show, where successful entrepreneurs show you how they build companies and achieve success. I'm so thrilled to have Chau Nguyen today. Chau is the president and CEO of Campus Special. Established in 2005, the company has evolved from a print advertising company into a mobile and online SaaS platform for local merchants who are looking to reach the 18 and 24 years old college students. And recently, the company was acquired by Jack for $17 million. Congratulations. So, Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
And are you prepared to inspire?
Absolutely. I'm ready.
Excellent. Love it, love it. Thank you so much. So I've just given our listener just an overview about Joe. So take a minute, tell us a little bit about you because we want to get to know you personally, and then give us an overview about Campus Special.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, I'm actually born and raised in Houston, Texas. Went to college at Oregon, and I actually got into this business when I was in college. And so I kind of had my opportunity to get my feet wet in college marketing when I was still in my early 20s, and fell in love with it, kind of fell into it, gained some experience in the college marketing advertising business. And so I did that for about 5 years in Los Angeles. And then in 2005, I was ready to go out and start my own business. And I always had the entrepreneurial itch. My dad was an entrepreneur all his life, so I kind of grew up watching that. It was in my blood. And so when the time was right in '05, I launched Campus Special, which was a company that was originally a traditional print media company that was built to help local merchants reach the college audience. And 8.5 years later, it's kind of grown and evolved into mobile, e-commerce, online SaaS. And we recently got acquired by a public company a few months ago. So it's
Excellent.
all
That's
happened
very
very quickly.
exciting.
hmm
And okay. So at Asian Success Show, I start the show up with our guest's favorite success quote, and it's a way of getting the motivational ball rolling for the audience. Joe, what is your favorite success one, and how you apply it to your everyday mentality?
Sure. Well, I can tell you, Michael, I have a lot of quotes, of success quotes that I use, but I'll pick one in particular that I share with a lot of my people that I mentor, and it goes, in order to achieve something you've never achieved before, you must first do something you've never done before. And that quote pretty much summarizes my career in one sentence, is that you've got to do things you're afraid to do. You have to take risk. You have to be willing to fail and learn. And from the time that I got serious about my career to even to today, now being part of a public company, I'm still doing things I've never done before, and that's how I'm achieving things I've never had before.
Lovely, lovely. Okay, and well, first of all, congratulations on the on your exit. So are you still with Campus Special, or you move on to another
Sure.
opportunity?
I get that a lot, and people call it an exit, but I'll tell you, for me, it's really the beginning, a new beginning for us. The way I look at it is Campus Special was started, it was a bootstrap company, small private business. We were growing very quickly in our own right, but we also believed that there was a bigger play out there. And so we had an option, which was to go out and raise capital. And we looked at those options too with private equity and VC. And then we found a strategic, which was Chegg, which had so many synergies and upside. It was the benefit far outweighed just raising capital. So people may see it as a sale or an exit, but I really see it as an opportunity for us to take this company to the next level. So I am absolutely here, and I'm watching my baby grow, and it's really kind of gone off to college, so to speak. So I'm still on board, and I've been tasked with the challenge to take this company and grow it, 5, 10x in the next few years.
So exciting for you. When you start as a print companies, and so help the audience move back in time when you just started. What is your aha moment?
So I think when I had the opportunity to get my feet wet in the advertising business, what I realized was there's an opportunity to give students something they need and want, which is savings, right? College students are on a budget, they need to save money, and to simultaneously give the businesses an avenue to reach the college audience. They're very elusive, they're hard to target. And so by offering them discounts and deals and coupons, essentially, you're really kind of connecting the two. So you've got people over here who need to save money, and you got businesses over here that want the college business. And so by giving them a deal to save money, we were able to serve as a bridge between the two. So our first product was a traditional print booklet. And then, of course, as technology evolved and students are early adopters of technology, we watched them go to online, we watched them go to mobile. And so we've evolved over time to provide deals in print, mobile, and online.
Excellent. So back in, I think I and you can relate to that. Back in the time when we were students, we can do anything just to get very cheap deals and things like that. Okay, so before I dig a little bit deeper, can you share with the audience about the size of Campus Special before you guys got acquired by Check, like the growth of companies and things like that?
Sure. So I can't disclose any specifics now.
Of course, I understand. Yeah.
But I can tell you, high level, we were very fortunate. I'll tell you, Michael. For us, we started this company, and it wasn't until the recession did we realize how bulletproof and recession-proof the model was. Because, even though the economy got hit very, very hard, and advertising in general took a really huge hit during 2008, 9, 10, our company actually thrived because we're in the business of saving students money. So, consumers became a lot more conscious of how they spend their money. And so coupon redemption was an all-time high. Demand for advertising via coupons was at an all-time high. So we were the beneficiary of a bad economy in that our usage, went through the roof. A. And then B, we also had an audience that was largely recession-proof too, right? So you've got this niche 18 to 24-year-old demographic. They're in school. The home prices, real estate, stock market, that kind of stuff doesn't really affect them nearly as much or at all in some cases. And so the college kids are still going to be out there socializing, watching movies, going out to the bars, getting pizza, wings, and doing the things that students do. So for us, we were able to maintain double-digit growth every year since the year we started the company, all the way through acquisition. So
that's awesome. And besides that, I heard that you have a very reputable internship program. How did that grow then?
Sure. That really is kind of the secret sauce and backbone, if you will, to our business. The unique thing about our company is that we have a massive sales force that gives us access, or really our feet on the street, that go out to all the local merchants who acquire the deals. So we have about 750 college students that intern for us in our formal summer internship program. And we recruit them, we train them, and then we send them out in the field, and they go out and they meet with the merchants and sign up all the businesses. So that's really been one of the driving keys to success for our company, is that we've taken a unscalable business and scaled it. And so with Chegg, after the acquisition, our goal is to go from 500 schools to eventually 5,000 schools.
It's amazing. And I'm curious, like when I first started, back then at the time when Groupon was born, the model was born, and a lot of people jumped into the scene with targeting people like me and you as professionals instead of going into a niche market like students. I'm curious, what led you to pick that niche instead of going to a mom or some professionals with higher income bracket?
Sure. Well, a couple things. One, we knew that there was a need that existed within the college audience to save money. And that's never going to change, right? Because they have, scholarship money, they're working jobs, they're low income. And so we knew we were solving a need, which is a very important thing in entrepreneurship, right? Are you helping people? Is it solving some kind of need? So that was how we started our company. And I can tell you, I remember when Groupon first came out and Living Social and then all the other copycats came out, there was a lot of buzz about daily deals. It was, it had gone viral. I think Groupon had just turned down Google for $6 billion. And so there were a lot of questions about, well, should we expand? Should we get out of the college audience? And it took a lot of discipline, but instead of being a deal provider to everybody, we wanted to focus on one audience and do it really well and just serve them. And so I'm glad we did because we didn't, chase shiny objects when daily deals were all the craze. And we stuck with the audience that we knew best, that we knew we could serve, that we already had a huge head start on. And so, you've seen Groupon and those companies kind of go up and down, and daily deals ultimately became a fad. We found that our business model was more sustainable because we weren't taking 50% of the revenue or profit of the business owner, and ultimately the students won because we were able to focus on them and we never expanded our reach. And so to this day, Chegg focuses on just 18 to 24, high school, college, and a little bit of post college, and then we're in the same boat now. So it's been a good demographic for us, and we consider ourselves domain experts in this college audience, and that's really where we're going to continue to focus on.
Hats off to you. Then that's a big discipline, because think about it, with Groupon, the size of the deal is ranging 50s above 100, but with students you cannot place your playground is sort of limited with the size of the deal.
Sure. Yeah, it was a tough decision, but
Right.
it was the right decision. So sometimes you get lucky.
Excellent. And how do you expand that to the I guess what led you to make decision to move from just a print advertising company to more like a mobile and online platform?
Yeah. So I'll tell you that actually was very easy for us to decide because the way we look at our audience is that we're here to serve them, and students are early adopters of technology, right? So we basically follow the trend. When we knew that mobile was becoming hot and smartphone usage was 40% of the student base, and then became 60 and became 80. I mean, overnight it went from, 1/3 smartphone usage to now it's like 98% in the college audience. Before it hit critical mass, we wanted to be ahead of that curve. And so we released our first app fall of 2011 for iPhone and Android. And, even though we were probably a little bit early, we were better off being first mover and early than jumping in when everybody else did. And so we're really one of the first college-only apps focused on students, and it really was a huge benefit because after that year, we saw a slew of a handful of other companies try to get in the space with college. So for us, we're here to serve the audience, and so if mobile's hot, then we're on mobile. If it's another product, then we'll evolve to that. But with business, you got to evolve with your audience. And we pretty much try to keep a pulse on the market and move along with what our audience wants, and then provide them that product.
Mm-hmm. I see you saying. I'm curious about your growth, Chau. Can you help the audience understand how you totally dominate the first school, and how do you sign up for the first school?
How do we get into
the first school? Totally dominate, and then use a model to multiply into multiple schools.
Sure.
Later on.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, in the beginning, we didn't dominate anything. It was a grind, right? In the beginning, you have to scratch and claw and scrape your way to success. So I can tell you, if you had done this interview that first year, dominate was not in our vocabulary. It was really about survival. The good news was we were providing value to students, and we're providing value to local merchants. Again, the students, it was just a natural fit. They want to save money, and the merchants, they didn't have a lot of good options to reach the college audience. So the thing that made us successful is that we had the ability to scale and do it in a way that was efficient economically. One of the most expensive things about getting into this local, hyper-local ad space is that, to be able to put together a sales force to reach that many markets and that many merchants, it's not easy. So, the way we did it was through the college internship program. So we were able to deploy, close to 100 people out in the field the very first year, and that gave us good market coverage, and it gave us a good competitive advantage over a lot of our competitors who would either do it over the phone or only do it regionally. We could go national out the gate. And so what we did was we built on that brand and those products, and then year in, year out, it became a staple. So you can go to one of our schools that we've been at now for 9 years, and they'll tell you, I've used Campus Special since I was a freshman, right? Or I've seen that thing around, all over campus. So it was really blood, sweat, and tears. And just grinding it out and providing students with a good product that they actually wanted and needed. And we were first mover in technology too to get to mobile and online, and so that had an influence as well.
I see. So what was the first school that you guys apply that? I mean, sell the coupons
Sure.
and is that the school from Oregon that you started or from
Yep.
or in
Yeah.
Atlanta?
Yeah, naturally being an Oregon alum, we started there. The first year, I think we rolled out at around 30 universities. So University of Oregon was one of them.
So the first year you said that you dominate the whole University of Oregon.
Yeah, we had a couple sales reps that we hired, and it was our first product launch. And so, yeah, I would say, there's competition out there no matter where you're at. We've been able to beat a lot of competitors just based on the fact that we're providing value, and we're able to do it year in, year out on a consistent basis. So some of these markets where we've matured a lot, we've got a lot of brand identity among the students and the advertisers. So,
And the second school is that still in Oregon or you branch out of town?
yeah, we actually started nationally. So it was Oregon, California, Florida, Georgia. Yeah, first year we were at 30 universities all over the country.
I'm curious though because you said that you started the internship program the same year that
Okay.
at
Yeah. So
Oregon, and then you said because
when
the
I
first
was
year
in,
you have the resources to go national.
sure. So yeah, when I was in college, I actually interned for another company, and I was a college intern doing sales at my college, and that's really how I learned the business. Right, I went out and shook hands with business owners and gave them the value proposition, closed deals, learned how to sell, and so after that year, after my internship, I was hired by that company to run their sales division, and so that's how I kind of fell into the business full time. Did that for about 5 years, and then launched Campus Special in 2005.
Gotcha. So you've been in sales of that niche for the last 5 years before you got out and started your own company.
You got it. Hmm.
Excellent. Okay, and so the same year you know that you need to build a sales force, and then you started the internship program at the same time.
Yep.
Oh wow, that's a very smart idea then, because college students need some job, and you provide them, train them, and at the same time expand as well.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you, a lot of what's lacking in education today too is hands-on experience outside the classroom. And so, in my own experience in college, I'd find that I'd have the foundation and the basics and the lectures and the exams, but to be able to take a student out of the classroom and put them into the field in a business-to-business setting, give them that kind of experience, go out and meet with clients real time, actually engage in transactional sales and closing deals and getting rejected, which is very important in sales and in business. It gave them a huge edge over their competitors when they went to go look for jobs. So we've built a full program for our college students to come and get trained, gain the experience, put on the resume, and then we have career partners where we take our students and we match them up with 65 companies, many of them Fortune 500, that will hire directly from our alumni base because they know that these students have real hands-on experience versus your typical college student inside a classroom. So it's that in itself is a huge problem that we're filling too, is giving students an exceptional internship opportunity. And I know that's valuable because I actually did it myself when I was in college.
So okay, so basically you take somebody from knowing nothing about sales, and then you train them up,
Mhm.
groom them over to become so that they know something so that they can close the deal.
Sure. And it isn't just sales, Michael. You got the internship experience that they go through when you're doing sales. You're learning about advertising, you're learning about marketing, just business, people, communication skills, all of that. It's really a business internship that teaches these people a lot about, what it's like to be out there in the real world. So when they go out to get a career job, they've already had that experience of, working in a professional environment, developing business acumen, knowing what it's like to be told no, and having to follow up and be persistent. So the program itself is just a huge life-changing event for them, and we've had 3,000 interns work for us over the last
I see what you're
day.
saying. So while operating such a big scale like that, what is the number one challenge that you experience, and you can share with the audience how you solve that?
Yeah, sure. It's a good question. As you grow, one of the toughest things to do is to maintain the things that got you to where you're at, right? So there's as a program went from 100 students to 200 students to 500 to 750, the real challenge was how do we keep that unique experience intact so that it just doesn't become a number, right? You're an intern and you're one out of 700. And so that was a big challenge for us, making sure that we can properly take care of customers. In the beginning it was only a few hundred and then became, 10, 20,000. So really a lot of it is just having the right process, systems in place, and then having the right people on your team that own that piece of that process. So in the beginning, as an entrepreneur, you wear every hat, right? So I was the CEO, the janitor, and everything in between. uh, yeah. So as we grew, we needed to find people who would own, just customer service or just product or just IT or just sales. So, finding the right people and then having the right processes and systems has been instrumental to growing a business. And, we consider ourselves having grown tremendously, but where we want to go is even bigger than that. So we're still dealing with that on a daily basis. People think that, okay, if you only can get it to here one day, you'll be fine. That's a constant evolution that you have to be working on every day, every quarter, every year if you want to continue to grow.
So your challenge, I just want to summarize, your challenge was to, as the number of intern is growing, the challenge is to make sure that they have the same, the quality and the experience is intact so that they can still learn all the skills needed to close the deal and they help the companies.
Yeah, at the sales level and at the product level, at the marketing level, at the customer service to IT, I mean, every bit of that grows along with that. So, as our sales force grew, we had to properly scale all of the other support systems to make sure that we could support that.
Does it take you to finally sort of optimize the system and all the process, all the pieces along with it to come up with the secret sauce?
It's taken about 9 years. So, and counting. Yeah. That's one of the other things I tell my team, it's adapt or die, right? And if you don't adapt your business, you're going to struggle because something's going to change, and either you're going to adapt to it or it's going to break. And so we have a culture here where it's, we understand that there's going to be challenges and obstacles and hurdles, and the key is how do we get better at what we do? How do we become a master of our craft? And we only do that by evolving with the times. And so, for example, our print product that we originally had, there were competitors that were in the same print business, and they never evolved. And they just decided, mobile's a fad. I'm not going to worry about it. It's not going to, go anywhere. And they don't exist today, right? Or maybe they do, but they started 5 years late. So it's a adapt or die mentality if you want to be successful, because changes and life is coming at you real fast. So that's so to ask how long it took, the answer is going to be however long we're in business, that's how long it took, because every day we're trying to improve and grow.
You and your team got to do something right so that Campus Special has grown so much. What are the 3 tips that you can share with the audience or with entrepreneurs so they can learn from that 3 tips to grow the company that fast?
If I only had to pick 3, I've given you one already, which I'll reiterate. You've got to fill a need. There has to be demand and actual need for what you're doing, right? So in our case, providing college students with saving money, opportunity to save money was just a no-brainer, right? So that was a good fit. Execution. This is very generic advice, but I can tell you that none of what we have accomplished here today would happen without excellent execution. And that's not just one person, that's everybody, top to bottom. In most businesses, there's just so many things that can go wrong. In fact, if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. You should expect it to go wrong. And so, what we had was we had a culture that focused around execution. If we didn't execute, we had nothing. And so once you have a good product and you're filling a need, you actually have to be able to go out and execute that. And so that's having good people, having good processes, and just having diligent, plan to actually go out and execute. So that's one of them. And the other one is just plain old-fashioned grit and determination and work ethic. I can tell you that a lot of people have given a lot to get the company to where it is, and that sacrifice of time and sleep and hours and fun and if you want to get something you've never had before, you've got to do something you've never done before. And so at the end of the day, it's what you put in is what you get out. And so it wasn't just at my level as an entrepreneur; it was as a team. The team has to believe in the vision and the cause enough to be willing to throw everything at it. And I can tell you that the way we got here is we scratched and clawed and scraped our way to success. And it was very hard. It was a lot of hours, but I can tell you it's been worth it. And where we're going, which is hopefully much bigger and better than where we're at now, will require the exact same effort. And that's really why we believe we've been successful. Old fashioned, just grind it out.
I have a question for you. So when you send out students or interns to go out and close the deal, are you prepared? At that time, were you prepared to, hey, I'm gonna lose some deals because they will not maybe A, competent, B, or some other issue? How did you manage that expectations so that you don't get upset because?
Yeah. So therein lies the problem, right? So that leads me to my next tip, which is always have a plan B. Um, we do the best we can with who we hire, and that's just the cost of doing business. You're not going to win every deal. Not every market will be a super high growth market every year. And we've got a good plan B. We have inside sales, we have full-time staff, we have people who travel. And so it's, they're not the only hope, but that is really how we sell most of our clients. That's what drives most of our business. So I'll tell you, over the course of almost a decade, we have gotten very good at finding the right people and then training them and then the execution part. So, for the most part, it is predictable. But you're always going to have your surprises. You're always going to have your absolute best, your average, and your bottom. And so, it's something we expect year in, year out.
Very nice, very nice. What is your grand vision when with Campus Special and then when you merge with Check? What is your grand vision to grow the company 10 times?
Sure. Well, I think one of the things that Chegg brings to the table is scale, distribution, brand, and resources, right? So, as much as we were growing and as well as we were doing, Chegg, had 14 times the user base we did, and they had a lot more capital and resources and firepower to put behind their brand. So essentially, what we're doing is we're taking something great, which is this business model and deals, and merging it with all their users who already have affinity for Chegg because Chegg saves them money on textbooks, right? So last year, Chegg saved college students $450 million. So almost $500 million in textbooks. And so Chegg has evolved to a student hub, and that hub will help students find scholarships, rent textbooks, get homework help, find internships. And now what we're bringing to the table is the ability to find deals and discounts at local merchants, find a place to live, order food online, do it via mobile, do it online, and basically more of the lifestyle and everyday things that they need. Chegg has evolved from an academic hub to a student hub. So the vision is to combine those two and then truly scale this to where Chegg Deals is our rebranded name, is going to be a household name on every campus where if you're looking to save money on anything, you go to Chegg. You go to Chegg Deals for ordering pizza, finding a place to get your haircut, getting an oil change, renting textbooks, getting homework help. And so, in the next few years, we hope to be able to accomplish that and be at every college campus and make Chegg a household name.
Congratulations. In a way that just powerful your dreams. In a way, just powerful your initial vision that, help to add value to the college students.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I can tell you, we didn't do it alone. So there's a lot of people behind us. But absolutely, it's been a great, run. And we look forward to this next chapter, which we think will be bigger and better than the previous.
So now it looks like you have like a rocket on the back to, you can propel as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah. We kind of look at it as just pouring gasoline on the fire that was already burning and growing. So it's campus special on steroids, if you will.
So during 9 years um, with Campus Special, what is your proudest entrepreneurial moment that you can share with the audience?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of them, but the thing that makes this company very special and unique is the internship program. And so I don't have one proud moment. I have hundreds and thousands of proud moments. And that moment is when you take a student and you teach them skills that are very, very valuable for their future. They become more confident, more assertive, they gain experience, they build a resume. I mean, we really prepare these people for the real world. And so the proudest moments that we have is knowing that we take these people and we develop them into something, you know, very unique and special. And we get, phone calls and emails and texts saying, I just landed my first job, or, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for the experience that you guys provided me. And so having done this with 3,000 students for over the last 9 years, we have just hundreds and hundreds of, thousands of success stories where if we, run into them on LinkedIn or run into them at an event somewhere, they still remember that, 8 years ago they did this internship and it was what propelled them into their career. So it's something that we are very proud of, and it's really what gets me out of bed every day. And to be able to provide that kind of life-changing value for a college student is huge. So that's one thing that Chegg was very attracted to, was this internship program, and our goal is to take it from 750 students to eventually thousands of students a year doing it. And we feel very confident that that's going to be the driving force of this business.
And it's so rewarding to see the life changes from maybe internship graduate from your program.
Absolutely.
What is the number one habit that you think contribute to your success?
Yeah. So for me, and again, anything that I feel is a valuable skill or mentality, we coach and train our people, our team, to think the same thing. And the big one that comes to mind for me is problem solving, right? It's got to be up there with, of course, the basics: work ethic and drive and motivation. Problem solving is important because when you're building a business and you're a fast growth company, you're going to encounter obstacles and problems. One of my mentors told me that if you don't have problems, you're not in business. So as a follow-up to that, I say, well, we're in business and business is good, right? So we got plenty of problems. And without the ability to problem solve, then you're not going to be able to survive, because something's always going to come up, right? Something under development breaks in IT, or a process that we rolled out, didn't go as smooth as we thought, or this product wasn't as popular. So it's constantly evolving, changing, adapting, problem solving on a daily basis. I believe that that's one thing that I've been good at. And I realized early on, because when you're a bootstrap entrepreneur and you're by yourself, especially, you don't have 20, 30, 50 people to help you with. You got to figure it out. If you don't, then you're not going to make it. And so by doing that hands-on myself, and I'm a pretty hands-on guy, and I'm an operator, I like to get in there, it gave me the opportunity to see firsthand on the front line what all the issues were and how to solve them quickly, because you got to move, very quickly. As we've grown, we built teams of people who, it's in their DNA to understand that there will be problems and there will be solutions. And the goal is to not, avoid the problems or, expect there to not be problems. Is to expect that, you've got to be able to problem solve and come up with solutions. And that to me is more of life advice than just entrepreneurship. It's both.
If you had to recommend one book, Chau, to my audience, what would it be?
Okay, so this is a good question. One of the recent ones that's very kind of fitting that I like to recommend is Good to Great by Jim Collins. Yeah, so Good to Great by Jim Collins. And what Jim does in that book is he talks about how companies go from good to great, or good to not at all, right? To non-existent. And there are some very, interesting examples of how giants, right? Billion-dollar corporations that started off in the same place, separated, and one goes like this, and one kind of goes like that, or just down, non-existent. Um, that book was great for us to read because we were kind of going through this transitional period where we were this small, scrappy little startup, but we wanted to be this big, big company, but we're bootstrapped. And so a lot of the foundation and philosophies that we have adopted come straight out of that book. And so even as we continue to grow and now we've been acquired by Chegg, a lot of that same foundation applies at this level as it did back when we were a small bootstrap company. So Good to Great, Jim Collins, one of my favorites. I still quote that book all the time whenever we have our staff meetings here.
Excellent. So Success Nation, if you haven't already, you can get the audio version of this book or any book you want by going to asiansuccessbook.com to pick up the Good to Great that Chau recommended. Chau, I really enjoyed listening to your journeys and the story that you share with the audience today. And give Success Nation one parting piece of guidance, and then share the best way we can find you, and then we can say goodbye.
Okay, sure. So, we don't have a long enough show here for me to give you all the advice I want to give you, but if there's any one thing I would give to your audience is you've got to believe that success is ultimately in your control. If you want to be successful, you absolutely can be successful. What it really comes down to is what you do and what you don't do. It isn't about the economy or lack of funding or age or experience or network. We all control our own destiny. I came from a very humble beginning and had every reason to fail. And what it came down to was you just have to know that you want something bad enough. You have to have a plan. You've got to write it down. You've got to go after it. And you can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid to just throw everything at it. And I attribute a lot of my success to old-fashioned, just put your nose to the grindstone, grind it out, get it done, put in the sweat, equity, and it pays off. I think a lot of people generally look for a little bit of luck or the big break. And you could search your whole life and wait around your whole life for that. So the one advice I give is that, when I was a kid, I knew that if I wanted something, I had to go after it. And I watched, over the last few years of my life, last decade, my opportunities and my career grow and my success grow. And all of that was based on the fact that I got up every day and I went after it. And so it seems very simple and it may not be that profound, but I'll tell you, anything's possible, And so now that I've gotten to this level and we've been able to get acquired, which is every entrepreneur's dream, I can tell you it's nowhere near over. This is not the best that we can do. And so I challenge myself every day to set a new goal and say, okay, now I want to take this business and grow it 10x, right? Once I do that, eventually I want to start another business and take that somewhere. So you got to be hungry, you got to be humble, you got to learn every day, fall on your face a few times, dust yourself off, and just go after it. That would be my advice.
Hats off to you on that. Thanks again, Joe, and appreciate that, your time and your expertise.
Great. Thanks for having me.